Conflict can be used in a very positive way if we understand that we're coming together from different viewpoints to solve one common problem. The thing about it is, sometimes just having a little bit more information doesn't change the circumstances, but it allows you to look at it from a different angle. We call that a paradigm shift. Boy, do I have a treat for you. Welcome to another episode of The Irreplaceable Dental Assistant. I am Dr. Lawson Myers, and we're just going to chat for a little bit. It's going to be me and you, but listen up. I have some food for thought. Okay, final vote. I thought we would just never get to this stage. Thank God, we spent so much time going back and forth on this issue. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it seems like we have a unanimous vote here. Wait, no. Oh no, this guy, he's gonna be the death of me. I've just shared with you a part of a nonverbal discussion I was having with myself some years ago. It was taking place towards the end of a long, challenging board meeting. The decision had to be unanimous, and as we voted to finally move on, John decided against the majority of us, and now we were stuck. It was a pattern of his to be the fly in the ointment when everybody else was ready to move on. He had objections and doubts. The amount of times that my eyes rolled when John spoke proved that there is a God. Otherwise, I know my eyeballs would have been stuck under my eyelids by now. This guy was just difficult. Well, at least that's how I saw him. But looking back on my experiences with John, I have to ask myself, was he difficult or different? Have you ever heard the story of the 3 blind people who were asked to describe an elephant? Basically, the first one described the elephant as a massive tree trunk as it touched its sturdy legs. The second person described the elephant as a snake while she felt the long, swaying trunk. And the third person described the elephant as a giant, gentle fan as his hands touched the ears. Same creature, different perspectives, all correct, but incomplete assessments. The most important thing about this elephant story is that as I related, you were aware that each person had a different perspective and was unable to see the other. What if that scenario actually happened in our offices daily? What if each of us showed up seeing the same situation or challenge from a limited viewpoint? What if we didn't realize that and found it impossible to understand why others didn't see our point of view to the extent that it stressed and angered us? Would it or could it make a difference if we embrace the fact that because of various reasons, including but not limited to personality types, family culture, beliefs, biases, work culture, and your position at work, you could see scenarios that work very differently from your teammate? This happens several times a day, every day. Perhaps we should be more curious. How well do we know our teammates? It may seem like a waste of time and actually crossing boundaries to learn about our teammates, but it's vital to having a cohesive team. A team that invests in creating opportunities to learn about each other can experience enjoyable and eye-opening connections. During those events, you may learn that someone who you thought was stuck up and aloof may be painfully shy. You may realize that someone that you've wondered about because of their lack of social graces may have lost their mom as a child and grew up without proper family or parental guidance. No family structure, no parental guidance. The thing about it is, sometimes just having a little bit more information doesn't change the circumstances, but it allows you to look at it from a different angle. We call that a paradigm shift. That person without social graces is still without social graces, but understanding that they grew up not having the structure of a family or parents to guide makes you see them a little differently, makes you more willing to invest in them, just come into their full potential. So conflict resolution begins first with understanding ourselves, and secondly, by understanding those around us. Are you an extrovert who loves to be the life of the party? Are you a great communicator? Or are you one with few words who loves to analyze details? Knowing yourself well, your strengths and your weaknesses, gives you clarity about how you show up to the world. Knowing your strengths, your personality type, and how you view the world informs you about how and why you see the world the way you do. It also, by extension, allows you to appreciate that each team member is going to see the world in their own way. Let's back up for a moment. What is this thing called conflict? We need to know what that means to be able to know what we're attempting to resolve. One definition that I've found, it's pretty comprehensive. So here goes. Conflict can be defined as a disagreement or clash between two or more individuals or groups arising from differing opinions, interests, and perspectives. It is a natural and inevitable part of human interaction, occurring in various settings, including personal relationships, workplaces, and communities. Conflict can manifest itself in different forms, such as verbal arguments, power struggles, or even silent tension. It often arises when there is a perceived threat of one's values, needs, or goals, leading to emotional or behavioral responses. However, conflict can also present an opportunity for growth and learning and positive change when managed effectively. So let's focus on that last sentence. Conflict presents opportunities for growth and learning and positive change when managed effectively. Remember John in that meeting? His personality type made him overly cautious. He is an analytical person, an excessive planner, and very, very detailed. His top strength was analytical. So he had the ability to think about all the factors that may affect a situation. In other words, John was wired to be cautious and to consider things most of us we wouldn't even think of. Now that I look back, John's cautious nature balanced us. A diverse team is a great team because there's so many perspectives. If they're healthy enough to be curious, learn more about each other, and perhaps sometimes agree to disagree, you could have a fantastic team. A curious team must have open, honest communication, practice active listening. When I say active listening, I mean that you're listening keenly, and at the end of what the person has said, be able to summarize what you think you've heard. That will allow the person to agree that you've understood or to correct you and provide further clarity. But active listening is key. Also, we need to be able to learn from each other and approach every situation with an open mind. Making time to identify and problem solve prevents issues from being ignored and overlooked, because issues that aren't addressed fester and grow and explode when we least expect it. We need to be comfortable dealing with issues. A must-have tool for unpacking the facts is critical thinking. So, what is critical thinking? Let's explore it a bit. Here's a definition that I found. Critical thinking is the ability to objectively analyze and evaluate information, arguments, and ideas in a logical and systematic manner. It involves questioning assumptions, considering multiple perspectives, and using evidence and reasoning to form well-informed judgments and decisions. Critical thinking helps individuals to identify biases and inconsistencies and to develop a deeper understanding of complex issues. There are times when you think that this is the root of the problem, and at the end of that critical thinking exercise where you have done the research, the problem started from way down there. But you'd never know unless you agree to engage and pull things apart and assess. It's the key skill in problem solving, decision making, and effective communication. It's amazing how much progress we can make individually and as part of a team when we are intentional about listening, not planning your answer and waiting for somebody to finish speaking so that you can respond, but also when we are curious and ask questions to understand and to be mindful of different personalities and strengths and various cultures. We also need to be aware that today's culture encourages us to be polarized. We're encouraged to see it's either us or them. This view can relate to politics or religion or race or gender or many other topics. Understanding that we have great folks who see the world differently from us can make life more interesting rather than becoming angry when somebody's point of view is different from ours. We're currently in what is known as a cancel culture. We give ourselves permission to discredit or chastise people in a public forum when we disagree with them or when we disagree with others. We need to be mindful that we're losing the ability to see value in others And we quickly embrace opportunities to create distance and divide. Remember what I said? A team comprised of members that share varied views and opinions has the potential to be a great solution finder, great at fantastic new ideas as well. Can you think about something that you can benefit from having seen or heard this podcast today? Are there things about yourself that you need to explore further? What about becoming more curious about your teammates and critically evaluating situations? Conflict resolution begins with understanding yourself, your teammates, and the nuances of the current challenge, acknowledging biases and respecting beliefs, and being willing to agree or disagree. Conflict resolution begins with respecting yourself and your colleagues. This discussion today isn't going to cover all the ways of addressing conflict resolution, but the things that we have looked at today will cause us to pause and be in a position to lessen the likelihood of negative conflict. Conflict can be used in a very positive way if we understand that we're coming together from different viewpoints to solve one common problem. All right, my friends, you know I always have a quote for you. And today, my quote comes from Steve Goodyear. And he says, "We don't get harmony when everybody sings the same note. Only notes that are different can harmonize. The same is true with people." So, we've talked about a lot today. You know what you need to do to make a difference, to look within and to analyze, to see how you approach things differently the next time that you are called to have a meeting or you see something challenging that you're working through. Because you know why? Just like me, you love when you are in an environment where everybody's supportive, everybody knocks heads together to find solutions and to make it work. You know also that life is better when we live, learn, and grow together. Listen, if you haven't, subscribe, like, share, tell, and I'll see you the next time. God bless.